I've come back from the future to warn you that if you don't subscribe to SSJ, your future is grim.
Many Dragon Ball fans had a mixed reception to Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F and its adaptation in Dragon Ball Super, and honestly, that's completely fair. Me personally, I didn't really have too many issues with it besides, the whole laser thing with Frieza's henchmen and a lot of the characters being super weak. I actually did like Super Saiyan Blue. However, the idea of bringing back Frieza is something that was done before, and this is just something they wanted to do and bring him into the actual canon and further expand the story of Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Super. But the execution felt rushed, inconsistent, and at times straight up contradict things that was already established in Dragon Ball Z. So instead of rewriting everything, I want to keep the core story intact while fixing logic, scaling, and character decisions using elements that were already there and not just used properly. So first off, I'll definitely fix Hell. We'll go ahead and restore Hell in the continuity from Dragon Ball Z. Instead of that bright, toned down version that we got in Dragon Ball Super and Resurrection of F, we go back to the original Dragon Ball Z depiction where it has blood pools and ogres, undead roaming, where Hell actually feels like hell, or if you're watching the English dub for the censored version, it's HFIL. And this directly connects to the Otherworld filler arc, which in that arc, Grand Kai sends Goku and Pikkon to deal with Frieza, Cell, and other villains causing chaos, in which Pikkon one-shots most of them, and then Goku makes quick work of the Ginyu Force. Frieza was once again humiliated by Pikkon, and here's the change. That's not the end of it, but just the beginning. Frieza's training, motivation that actually makes sense. While in Hell, Frieza witnesses something crucial. He sees Goku reach Super Saiyan 3, and he sees a fight against Kid Buu. And at that moment, it becomes his motivation. For the first time, Frieza understands he's been surpassed completely. So instead of the 4 months of training nonsense that we got in the movie and Dragon Ball Super, Frieza has been training this entire time in Hell with Cell, obsessively, not just physically, but mentally and strategically. Every loss, every humiliation, every memory of Goku or of Trunks fuels that growth. So when he comes back, his power jump actually makes sense. So I don't know if you guys remember, there was like a future Trunks SOS warning special presentation that came out a little bit before the Goku Black arc, where he sends a message out to Goku and his friends revealing he kind of knew about Frieza coming back and was kind of wishing he was there to help them. So basically, same thing happens in my version where future Trunks sends a warning. In his timeline, Frieza soldiers are already attempting to revive Frieza, and Trunks basically feels something is off, and he goes ahead and takes care of that before all of that can happen. Kind of like how when he stopped the Majin Buu arc from happening in his timeline in Dragon Ball Super. So he sends this information back, hoping it reaches them in time. So two important things: it raises the stakes immediately, and it sets up Trunks' eventual return when Goku Black starts up in the later portion of Dragon Ball Super. So now, Frieza's revival. Now let's address something important. It's been many years since Frieza's death, so reviving him the same way as before doesn't really make any sense with previously established lore with the Dragon Ball. So in this version, he would have to be revived from Hell. Like, he would have to be resurrected through that sort of means. Maybe Baba brings him back, or whatever, makes a deal with him, or he makes a deal with some sort of demon, similar to how Stinkmeaner was able to return, but he's not possessing anybody else's body. He comes back as regular Frieza, and it's just a special, specific condition tied to Frieza's continued existence and resistance in Hell. So when he comes back, it's not random, it's intentional. So now we get the invasion of Earth. This is where Frieza's henchmen does make sense. It wouldn't make sense for them to want to revive somebody like Frieza, but it would make sense for them to want to still work for Frieza, knowing that he came back or he's still around. So when Frieza returns, the invasion of Earth still pretty much happens, and now it actually feels dangerous. The army isn't just background noise. They're organized, aggressive, and actually push Earth's defenders, and eventually they're wiped out primarily by Piccolo and Vegeta, and maybe a few by Tien and Krillin, which is important because the battlefield is cleared for what really matters. So the main fight. So now we get to the biggest structural fix. Instead of jumping straight to Super Saiyan Blue after the first round of fights, Goku and Vegeta use Super Saiyan God, the red form, and they tag in and out They fight smart, but it's not enough. Golden Frieza overwhelms them, and their stamina drops, their coordination slips, and eventually they're forced back in the base. Now the fight actually has tension. Frieza then takes control, fixing the biggest problem. With both Saiyans drained, Frieza takes control of the fight. He starts landing death beams, controlling the pace, and proving he's finally surpassed them. So Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super are very different, and some established things change whether we like it or not. I don't agree with all of the changes, but it is what it is. And one moment that didn't really work was Sorbet shooting Goku. In the original version, Sorbet, a henchman of Frieza, lands a lucky shot on an unaware Goku, shifting the entire fight. I kind of somewhat understand the idea, because if Frieza was to usually try to shoot Goku with Death Beam, Goku is essentially immune to Frieza's Death Beam. Especially back on Namek, he blocked and dodged them effortlessly in his base and Super Saiyan forms. And even earlier, before he fought Frieza, he was able to deflect a death beam that was aimed towards a weakened Gohan. So he handles them without trouble. The goal is definitely to catch him off guard, because Frieza would remember back on Namek that wouldn't work. So maybe creating a smoke screen or something like that and catching Goku off guard while he's unaware of where Frieza's presence is probably the best way to go for getting Frieza to get that lucky death beam shot off on Goku to incapacitate him for a little bit. So this scene to me would work better because it has no outside interference. It doesn't make Frieza look as much as a punk. And by this point, all of Frieza's men are gone. Instead of Frieza earns his moment and Frieza lands his precise Emperor's death beam, and not random and not by luck, but he reads Goku's movements, finding the opening and takes it, and that's what puts Goku down for the moment. And that's where Vegeta steps in. With Goku injured, Vegeta swaps himself in, and he reveals a power that's been latent in him since he was kind of excited to fight the new form of Frieza anyway. And he reveals that he has Super Saiyan Blue. And now, even with the golden form, even with Frieza in his golden form, he's starting to destabilize, and Vegeta is starting to give him some trouble now. This keeps the tension high and makes Frieza feel like a legitimate threat. However, he's still powerful at the same time despite his stamina dropping, with both of them landing blows, blow for blow. Meanwhile, Goku recovers on the sidelines with the Senzu Bean to get back in the fight. Just like before, Golden Frieza's form isn't perfected, and he eventually loses his golden transformation, and now he's back in his final form. And now Frieza gets desperate and tries to destroy the Earth just like he did in the original movie. And that's where we get the Whis with the time rewind, because you gotta have Whis. And now I know it feels like a last resort, but this time it's not a cheap reset, because with the Super Saiyan Blue transformation after the rewind, Goku remembers Namek. He remembers letting Frieza linger and not finishing the job. This time he doesn't repeat that mistake, so he reveals Super Saiyan Blue earlier within the fight, after he recovers and after Whis rewinds the time. So at that exact moment, that's where it matters the most. And then Goku powers up and then finishes Frieza with a god-powered Kamehameha. And Vegeta follows up, destroying what remains, including Frieza's spaceship. So at that final moment, Vegeta already knew. At the end, Goku asks how he achieved this level, and Vegeta reveals that he's been training with Whis. He already knew how to reach this level. That's the difference between them. Goku learns in movement and moment, and Vegeta prepares ahead of time. So my final thoughts, this version doesn't change the story, it fixes it. Frieza's growth makes sense. The fight is real tension, and Super Saiyan Blue feels earned, because it brings Frieza back and should have been a huge moment. And with these changes, it actually is. So what do you guys think?
She don't wanna be saved, don't save her. 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 She don't wanna be saved.